welcome home. It's Irish Family History with curious news and notes, celebrating our 4th year of this podcast at the Irish Roots Cafe, where every day's a holiday and there's always room for one more. One of 6 broadcast series from the head school at irishroots.com. I'm Mike OLaughlin, your host, publisher of rare Irish books and information on every county in Ireland since 1978. Be sure to read our blog, complete with links to click on from this podcast, and search our master index and books for free. Molly, wet the tea. Katie, bar the door. Sweeney, clear that floor and bring out the Irish dancers. It's time we get this show on the road. Well, it's show number 168 here at the Irish Roots Cafe on the Irish History and Genealogy Show, Family History, that is. Today's advanced show notes. Number 1, the family name of the day is Lawlor. The Irish county of the month is Queens County, but in modern times that's known more like Leix. And number 3, searching for Henry, Thompson, Lambe, Jones, and Gordon. Number 4, a monthly video on the best advice for a man directly from Miss Ireland. Several questions there. Number 5, the web page of the month is about, it's a little talk some guy gives about genealogy, DNA, and theory of human origins. Number 6, who is Rocky the Chicken? Not the squirrel, but the chicken. And the 1-minute podcast is on Hello Fada and counting in the Irish language, 1 to 10 maybe. Oh my. What's happening this week at the Irish Roots Cafe? Well, let me just take a few minutes here. I guess first we'll cover the, we're getting ready today, as a matter of fact, is the very first official Irish song podcast that's kicking off today for the third season. And of course, that's Shan No singing, the old style Irish singing. And we've got several people lined up, including Penelope and Karen and Hank and Liza. And, I'm even going to start it off, but don't worry. We've got plenty of other people singing too, and that might give you confidence. You know what I mean? Now, this also gives me a chance when we talk about what's happening here. We're just starting that song podcast up again for the 3rd season. Remember that this Irish Family History podcast that you're listening to right now, it actually comes in 2 forms. It comes in the regular old audio podcast, just like a radio show. And then if you have iTunes or QuickTime, you can listen to this show. And I put little pictures up on the screen with links in them. And sometimes it goes to the webpage we're talking about or to a story we're talking about. You can click on it. It takes you there. At least you have a little picture to look at while you're listening if you'd like. So that's what we call the enhanced version. You can subscribe to that on iTunes or right from my webpage. It's the very same audio as the regular feed, but if you click on the enhanced feed and subscribe to that, you'll get the photos and the links you can click on within those photos. And hey, it's free, so why not? Yep, that's about all I've got today. We'll talk about those other podcasts maybe next week and get going on that. Now it's time for the next one. Hey, our 1-minute podcast this week is from Hello Fada. Notes for the curious on the Irish language, and we're going to talk about numbers today. So Renata's going to take it away, and I can't wait to hear what she has to say. Oh, well, let's see. Now, how far can you count?
Well, I can count pretty far.
You can do more than like a first grader? Or?
I can do more than a first grader, yeah.
Ooh, good. Well, give us a sample of, how about 1, 2, 3?
A hen, a doe, a tree.
A hen, a doe, a tree?
And that first word almost has 2 syllables. Hen.
Hen, like H-A-Y-E-N?
Yeah, that'd be a good English equivalent. A hen.
A hen.
A doe.
A doe.
A tree.
A tree. Is that T or tree?
It's chi with an R.
Okay.
But the T is very slender.
Okay. So. Now, how about it? What if you you took a real big gamble and went all the way to 10?
Oh, I can do that, yeah.
Okay, let's hear that.
A hen, a do, a chi, a ceathair, a cúig, a sé, a seacht, a hocht, an lí, a deich.
Ooh, and that's 1 through 10.
Well, that's 1 through 10.
And that 10 was, you say, decht?
Deich.
Yeah, jecht?
That's very close. The first D is slender. It almost sounds like a J. So j.
Oh.
And then yech.
Jecht.
Jecht.
Jecht. And how about 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 to 100?
Yeah. Fiche, trocha, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, I understand how that goes. Well, we get the general gist of things, and this is just to acquaint us with numbers. Now, in all your years of teaching, they say sometimes that the male of the species is better at numbers than the female, and is that true?
Well, it depends on if you're shopping or not, I think.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, I've always been very good at numbers and figuring tax and things.
That's right. And, of course, if it was a very expensive item, you could all of a sudden forget how to add.
Oh, and I can figure out discounts, really.
Oh, well, thanks to Renata for that. Her podcasts are so much fun. We're going to have to talk her into coming back and doing some more of them, just to give us confidence. As a matter of fact, her regular classes on Irish language, beginning and more advanced, have just started down at the Irish Museum. So maybe we'll be able to get a hold of her more after class again and get her to talk. Oh, well, now we know that means it's the book of the month, and we've selected for the book of the month Kings and Queens County Genealogy and Family History Notes. That goes along with one of our new members today. And you got to know that Kings and Queens, they have, those counties had different names. Kings County in the past, but today it's called County Offaly, and Queens County is County Leix. Same county, just different names in modern times. And sometimes if you're studying those old records, you forget that those county names can change, just like sometimes our personal names can change. And we're talking about that book. It's part of the 34-volume set I wrote on the Irish family history series for for that whole section we did. And in old times, Queens County, which is what we're going to focus on today, was sort of run by the O'More family. But Queen Mary came along and thought that was a fine-looking county in the 16th century, and she claimed that land as part of the crown, really a very early plantation, so to speak, but nothing compared to what was coming. And she renamed it Queens County, and then she also renamed the main town as Maryborough. And that wouldn't remain the case when the country was declared independent by the natives, so to speak. So it was renamed back the old ways. Now, listed in that book, let's take a look at some of those main families, at least in the 19th century. That's when the famine was. Here we've got Dunn and Delaney and Conroy and Lalor, Phelan, Fitzpatrick, Ryan, Carroll, Whalen, Byrne, Kavanaugh, Kennedy, Brennan, Kelly, Murphy. Those are just some of the most popular, most numerous family names, but there's plenty more were in the county. We've also got some extracts from the works in this book, from the works of O'Hart and others, and we look at the families of Dunn and Colgan and Doyne, and of course more, and Hart and Hennessy, O'Connor Fowley, and O'Reilly of Heath House, as well as Henry, Houlihan, Malloy, Mooney, and Mulheron. So, boy, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Now, in another part of this book, just like all of them we do that are in the spiral bound section, we include the complete existing returns from the census of 1659, and that also shows the method of spelling family names and place names at that time, and it's organized by barony, townland, and parish. Now the baronies, of course, it'll list the main clans in those baronies and just give you an idea, and sometimes it lists individuals, but you're awful lucky if your individual happens to be listed. Hey, now it's time to move on to the Magnificent Seven. What's the best advice that Miss Universe gives a man? Well, that's coming up. We'll give you a link to that, as well as the other questions she answered. It's pretty interesting. But like I said, it's the Magnificent Seven. We're lifting our eyes skywards, giving thanks and asking for help Number 1, Lorraine Falls of Beaverton, Canada. Your Claire Donegal and Irish Families booked have shipped. Number 2, Sandra Fleming of Corona, California. Your County Antrim Genealogy and Family History book has shipped. Number 3, Gloria Sweeney of Thornhill, Canada. Welcome as a new member. Searching for Henry in County Cavan and Thompson and Armagh, and looking for records and passenger lists, birth records that is. And number 4, welcome Scott Painter of Burlington, Canada as a full member. Your County Tyrone Genealogy and Family History notes have shipped. And let me see, they're searching for Lambe, and it says here Dublin Jones and Tyrone Gordon, so that must mean the Jones name in County Dublin and the Gordon name in County Tyrone. Number 5, thanks to Penelope of County Clare for the first interview and song for our upcoming new podcast series on Irish song, Shan No Style. Number 6, thanks to Karen Zeal for giving us an interview and a song, and she's also agreed to do a little work on the boron. That's great. And hey, I think she'll even kick in on the last song for a group song too, so we're going to have some fun. And thanks to Lisa for the Mad Puck Goat and Harp and Hank. We got some good ones coming up. I'm telling you, these people all cared enough to pitch in. And this reminds me, thanks to all of the members and everybody that helps, because without you, we wouldn't be here. Depend on your membership and on your books and on your actual help to keep things going. So I do appreciate it. Time for the family name of the day, and that is today, it's Lawlor. You can spell that L-A-W-L-O-R or L-A-L-O-R. Usually refers to the very same family. Brothers in the same family could spell it differently. Father could spell it differently than a son. And then again, two families who weren't related could spell it differently just to prove it. But without you tracing your family back, you'll never know who you're related to. And that's in honor of Les Warren of Waikato, New Zealand. Welcome as a new member. And they're searching for Lawlor from County Kerry, but they likely came from County Leix, which is Queens County. And spellings of the name, I told you they're there. You can have an O in front of it. It can be OLaughlin. Sometimes it looks like Lalor when it's spelled. And, those vowels can be interchanged. I've got a list of those on the blog. It comes from variant spelling groups number 1057 and 2476 in the Guide to the Various Spellings of Irish Family Names. Link to that on the blog, too. That's a book I put together a couple years back to list all these different spellings. Helps separate things in the beginning, when you're researching. And if you take a look at OLaughlin, you're going to find that it was noted as one of the 7 septs or 7 families of Leix, and the O prefix is generally not found on the name in modern-day records. The leading members of those septs, the guys that everybody could rally behind and cause trouble and rebel, well, they took them and they transplanted them to County Kerry in 1609. We all know that was a rough century, and that's about the time that really the big transplantations were taking place from Scotland and England up into Ireland, and it was a tumultuous time. But most of the family remained centered near their traditional lands, and I think a lot of them, I don't know this for a fact, but I seem to really read quite a bit where people would generally, over the centuries, drift back to their homeland. I don't think they'd report that on the census, however, because the record takers might not take kindly. Now, you can also find families of the name in the estate papers in the National Library of Ireland, and note that the name of Lawlor's Mill, that's where the 7 septs were officially defeated by the signing of a treaty. I don't know if you should call that Lawlor's Mill or change that to Englishman's Mill. Now, that they can also be found in the same old genealogies as the O'Connors of County Kerry and the O'Moores, and it's all given in Keating's History of Ireland in Volume 3. That's where I put the genealogies. You can buy that separate from the whole set, so it's not as expensive. One principal location for the family was at Dysart near the Rock of Dunamace, and from here a branch of the family settled in County Tipperary. So if you're in Tipperary, you might know how you got there. And a branch of that line is found given in the Irish Book of Arms, so that's helpful too. It's always good to know. Now, if we take a quick look here, the Irish family coats of arms from the Irish Book of Arms, we've got at least 1 or 2 listings in there, and we show the arms of Power Lalor of County Tipperary with the motto and crest. Well, coming up, we've got a link to a worldwide researcher who talks about diversity and genetics and genealogy a little. And also, it's not the flying squirrel, it's Rocky the chicken in Ireland, and find out what he can do. Now we're going to take a look at some of the sources we found Lawlor in. And of course, we found it in the 1659 census and in the Irish Birth Index. And we found them in the Families of County Kerry book. That's where they got translated to. And we found several spellings of the name in Irish Genealogies, which was Keating's History of Ireland. And we also found the name in the County Kilkenny Genealogy book and in the Irish Book of Arms. And we found, here's a heading, Lawlor in duel. Ooh, it means it was in a duel. They had a fight. They had a duel with somebody. That's in the Families of County Kerry book. That could be nice to look up to start a family legend, wouldn't it now? They had a duel. He won, and so he fled to America. Number 7, we also find them in the Kings and Queens County Ireland genealogy and family history book, and that fits because that's the traditional county homeland for the clan. Now we're moving up to the next segment, and it's Around the World in Irish Ways, web pages and videos of the month. Okay, number 1, a video tour of Agabo House in Leix County, Ireland. Let's keep the counties constant. A video tour featuring the Agabo House, a historic estate in County Leix, Ireland. I think they're trying to sell that real estate, but it's some nice viewing anyway. So if you're curious about where your family came from, if they were from Leix, or if you've never seen the county, that's a good way to take a look at some nice video. Number 2, Lawlor Family Holiday Magic Video. I've got that on there. They spell it Lawlor. A nice little video on YouTube. Number 3, this is the one all the guys should listen to. Miss Universe 2010, Miss Ireland, Rosanna Purcell. She answers the questions that they're given to her there on this little show, and it's the best advice for a man, and the best gift, and the best things you can do, and that sort of thing. So if you want to know how to get the attention of Miss Ireland and all those like her, you best listen to that on YouTube. Link on the blog. Number 4, Building a Family Tree for Human Ancestry. That's where the fella talks about the human tree and genealogy and the genome and all that sort of things. It's good for beginners. It doesn't get too complicated, but if you just want a little primer to get you going, that might start. And of course, remember, we've got video shorts of our own that you can link to from the blog. And after I get done with the songs, I'm moving on to the videos, and we'll do another 20 or 30 videos on genealogy and history and see how that works out. But that about does it for the web pages and videos. There's a lot out there. I think you might enjoy those picks we made this week. And next up, we've got everybody's favorite, the last one, Curious News and Notes. Well, you know, Emma Waldron is the one who had been crowned Miss Ireland, and she's also a friend of Miss Universe Ireland. So that makes 2 Miss Irelands friends with each other, and they're in competition, and they're surely nice to watch and listen to. And that's Rosanna Purcell, and we've got a link on the blog to that so you can learn a little bit more. Number 2, Ploughing Ireland Championship in Athy, County Kildare, drew a crowd this year of 74,000 or so, with folks from 15 countries in attendance. They said they were happy with that amount. It's about the same as they had 2 years ago, not quite as much as last year, but it's going just fine. Number 3, who is Ireland's greatest? Well, you might know there's been a poll going around, and you're supposed to give the answer on to who's the greatest, and they've got it down to the finalist. But some very great and important historical figures have been overlooked. Now, modern figures that are popular seem to have made it, people like Bono and Mary Robinson. But some of the greats like Dan O'Connell, I think he got left out. I don't know. But you might as well jump in on that poll. I'm sure you can find out what's going on the web. Number 4, the Galway Mosque. Well, the foundation stones are being laid for Galway's first purposely built mosque. It's a change of the time, folks. I got a link on the blog to the Irish Times. Number 5, have you heard of Rocky the Chicken? Maybe it's Rocky the Flying Chicken. No, it's Rocky the Psychic Chicken. He predicts by eating out of the plate that has the correct answer in it, so you could find out which football team might be winning, or what horse to bet on maybe. I don't know. But you can find more about that on the blog. Click the link. Number 6, the Galway Oyster Festival has just ended its 56th year. The World Oyster Opening Contest was held on Saturday with 16 countries represented. That's one more than the plowing contest. I guess it's easier to open oysters than it is to plow a field. I think that's right. And hey, they also had other competitions like the Best Dressed Lady competition. That had been a nice one to be a judge in or just to observe. Got a link on the blog to that, and that takes care of all our big listings. Just remember that we are the world's leading audio source for Irish genealogy and family history. We have 7 broadcast series and, well over 250 episodes I've put out of all those different podcasts. And, of course, that includes language and Irish history and Irish American history and Irish song. And we're open to anything. If you've got some good ideas, you want us to maybe cover some local history of the Irish in your area, or cover a certain type of song, be glad to do it. It's all in the porridge here, folks. We like it all. So that's really bringing us to a close. Thanks for being with me here another week, and I couldn't do it without you, folks. Thanks again, and keep it coming. That's all for today, folks. Joseph, warm up those pipes. Remember, we have a broadcast series on Irish song and recitation, on local history of the Irish in America, and on 2,000 years of Irish history, as well as on the counties, and something special coming up on Irish language, I hope. We've got all that and more at our head school at irishroots.com. And we've been known to appear, exhibit, teach, and even sing for your special events. Be sure to book in advance if it's important, and write me at my American address at Irish Roots Cafe, Box 7575, Kansas City, Missouri, 64116. Leave a message by phone at 816-256-3360. Reach me on my webpage at irishroots.com. Skype me at the Irish Roots Cafe. Get me on MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, and Irish Central. Members foot the bill, so they get first priority, but we're open to all. And by the way, a big thank you to all of our members. And away.